Here is a problem that does not get talked about enough. Most organizations have SOPs, but when you look across the library, every procedure looks different. Different header formats, different numbering styles, different levels of detail, different section names. The result is a document library that no one trusts and no one follows consistently. The fix is not to rewrite every SOP. The fix is to standardize the template. In this video, you will see 3 SOP template formats with filled examples for each. A simple numbered steps template for straightforward tasks, a hierarchical template for complex multi-role procedures, and an extended template for regulated industries that meet 21 CFR, Part 11, and ISO 13485 requirements. By the end, you will know which format fits which task and what every section should contain. The reason the template matters is not aesthetic, it is operational. When every writer starts from the same template, review time drops because reviewers are checking content, not reformatting documents. New writers produce better first drafts because the structure is already defined. And during an audit, a consistent library is far easier to defend than a collection of documents that each reflect the personal style of whoever wrote them. 3 template formats. Simple numbered steps for linear tasks with 1 role and no decision points. The majority of operational SOPs fall here. Hierarchical for complex procedures with multiple roles, phases, and decision points. And the regulated industry extended template, which adds the additional required fields for organizations operating under 21 CFR Part 11, ISO 13485, or GMP requirements. We will walk through each one. Template 1 is the simple numbered steps format. Use this when the task is performed by 1 role, the steps run in a straight sequence with no decision points, and the procedure can be completed in a single session. This format covers the majority of operational SOPs, like equipment startup, sample logging, form submission, shipping procedures, and similar tasks. Here is template 1 filled out. Notice what makes it work. The document number is SOP-QC-042. That unique identifier is how document control tracks this procedure. Version 2.1 with an effective date means anyone reading it knows exactly which revision they have. The purpose statement is 1 sentence and names the specific outcome, ensuring materials meet specification before release to production. The scope explicitly states what is not covered, packaging materials. This prevents misapplication. The steps are numbered, written in active voice, and step 2 includes an explicit decision point. If damage is found, go to step 8. Template 1 uses all 8 sections from the previous video. None of them are optional. A controlled document library has no such thing as a partial SOP. If the header is missing a document number, you cannot manage version control. If the revision history is absent, you cannot prove the document has been maintained. All 8 sections, every time. Template 2 is the hierarchical format. Use this when the task involves more than 1 role, has distinct phases that group logically, or includes decision points where the operator must choose between paths. If reading the procedure as a single numbered list would produce 30 or more steps with no natural grouping, the hierarchical format is almost always the better choice. Here is template 2. The procedure is organized into phases. Phase 1 is preparation. Phase 2 is execution. Each phase has numbered sub-steps with the role assigned at the start of each step, so there is never ambiguity about who is responsible for what. Notice step 1.3. The decision point is written as an explicit conditional. If specification is out of range, stop, complete the deviation form, notify the quality manager before proceeding. In a simple numbered list, that instruction often gets buried. In the hierarchical format, it stands out as the critical control point it is. A simple rule for choosing. If the task involves more than 1 role, hierarchical. If the procedure has more than 15 steps in sequence, hierarchical. If there are decision points where the operator must choose between paths, hierarchical. Everything else, simple numbered steps. When in doubt, the hierarchical format is never wrong. The simple format used where hierarchical was needed is where procedures break down. Template 3 is the regulated industry extended format. This adds required fields beyond the standard 8 sections for organizations operating under 21 CFR Part 11, ISO 13485, GMP, or similar regulatory frameworks. The additional fields are not optional. They are what auditors and inspectors look for. If your organization is regulated and your SOP template does not include these elements, your document control system has a gap. Template 3 adds 6 fields to the standard header. Training requirements, which training module must be completed before performing this SOP, and what form documents that completion. Training frequency, initial assignment plus retraining on every revision. This is the link between your document control system and your training records. Electronic signature requirements, audit trail specification, confirming the document management system is logging all access and changes. A CAPA link, which CAPA procedure governs if a deviation occurs during execution. And regulatory references, the specific CFR or ISO clause this SOP satisfies. These 6 fields are what separate a document control system that passes inspection from one that generates 483 observations. One element of the template that most teams underestimate is the document numbering system. There are 3 common approaches: department-based, SOP-department code-sequence number, like SOP-QC-042. Simple, readable, but creates confusion when a procedure crosses 2 departments. Process-based, SOP-process code-sequence, better for cross-functional procedures. And multi-site, which adds a site code prefix required if more than one facility shares the document system. The critical rule: define your numbering system before writing the first SOP. Changing a numbering system across an existing library of 200 documents is one of the most painful administrative tasks in quality management. The revision history table inside the template is not a summary, it is a permanent record. Every revision gets its own section. The record must include the version number, the date, the author, the reviewer, a summary of what changed, and critically, the reason for the change. That last field is what regulators look for. A change summary that says updated step 4 tells you what changed. A change reason that says process change per engineering change order, ECO-2023-044, tells you why it changed and links to the change control record. Never delete old sections. Version 1.0 from 4 years ago is still part of the document's history. Every SOP template must include an approval block at the front or back of the document, not in the footer, not buried in the revision history. The approval block captures the printed name, title, signature, and date for each required approver. In regulated environments, electronic signatures under 21 CFR Part 11 are equivalent to wet signatures, but the system generating them must be validated. The approval block is not a formality. It is the legal record that this document was reviewed, found to be accurate, and authorized for use. Organizations often want to adapt the template to their own branding and systems. That is fine, with one rule. You can add to the template, you cannot take away from it. Adding your logo, your color scheme, additional fields specific to your QMS, your numbering format, all of that is customization that improves the template. Removing the document number because it seems redundant, or skipping the revision history because the procedure is new, that is breaking the template. The 8 required sections from the previous video are the floor, not the ceiling. One addition that regulated industry templates should always include is a training record attachment page. This page, attached to the SOP, captures who was trained, on what date, by which trainer, and critically, which version of the SOP they were trained on. That last field is what makes the audit trail complete. When an auditor asks whether your employees were retrained after the version 2.0 revision, your answer is not a verbal assurance. It is this form with signatures and dates filed against version 2.0. 5 template mistakes that create audit findings, all of them preventable at the design stage. Using bullet points instead of numbered steps. Operators cannot reference the 3rd bullet in a deviation report. Combining all procedures for a department into one mega SOP. One SOP covers one discrete task, leaving the version and date blank until after approval. Fill them at the draft stage. Confusing SOPs and work instructions. An SOP defines what must be done. A work instruction defines how to operate a specific piece of equipment. They are different documents and should not share a template. And no print date on the footer. Any physical copy found during an audit must show when it was printed to confirm it reflects the current version. A well-designed template solves the writing problem. It gives every author the same starting point and ensures every SOP has the right structure. But the control problem is different. Ensuring that every SOP was written from the approved template, went through the approved workflow, was distributed only as the controlled version, and that every affected employee has a signed training record against the current revision. That is a system problem. That gap is where most compliance findings originate. eLeap manages the full life cycle: standardized templates, approval workflows, version-controlled distribution, automatic retraining triggers on revision, and a linked audit trail. See the link in the description. Subscribe for more quality management and compliance content. Next up, SOP Management System: how to control your SOP library at scale, including version distribution, obsolete document management, and the audit trail your quality system needs.